I build a lot of Mopar engines, and Chevys are not very common with me, but I still love the Chevy, especially the LS6 big block 1970. It's always been one of my favorites. And now I have one here in my dining room, so I can't wait to get it tested. So let's get it warmed up and let's see how it goes. Here we are in Montreal, getting a lot of heavy snow today and a lot more tomorrow. And we got Nico here with his father's car, wheel drive muscle car, Mustang, and he's stuck. Oh, there he is, finally got out. Keep going forward and backwards, Nico. Well, Nico battles his car. I'm going in the dining room to work on a 454. See you guys later. Hi, I'm Nick and welcome to my shop. Yes, we're back in the dining room, and this time I've got not a Mopar, but a big block Chevy LS6 that came in from California. And this one here belongs to Greg. It comes from a 1970s Chevelle LS6 4-speed car with the cowl induction. So speaking of cowl induction, you know that when I build the engine, we want to build enough vacuum for the cowl induction to work, which of course operates on vacuum. So here we are. He wants it to be stock appearing looking. So we brought it in here, shipped it over to us. We broke it down. We had a video on the breakdown on it. And you know, we noticed that it had a solid lifter flat tappet cam. So let me just say, the LS6 1970 comes with a solid lifter flat tappet camshaft, 11.25 compression ratio, and was rated at 450 horsepower. Now, did GM lower the power, raise the power? I do not know. But this is what we've done with this engine. We boarded 30 over, and they did not deck the block because it's got numbers on the block, so I didn't want to deck the block. And we have the cylinder heads that belong to, I believe, a 1971 setup, which is an open chamber. So then we also brought up the compression. Instead of going up further from 1125, we brought it down with the open chamber head to 10.4. And I also had the cylinder heads milled down. And we wanted to stay with the aluminum stock flat intake manifold. Of course, that thing doesn't make power, and it is the big open rectangular cylinder heads. And also I wanted to say that my customer wanted to go with the hydraulic roller camshaft and roller tip rockers. And of course, keep the original valve covers. So what we did with that for clearance, we put a thicker valve cover gasket and we cleared it and we got it running good. Then also we put a new timing chain, oil pump, and of course we boarded 30 over. And now we're using his distributor, his coil, and we're about to get it started, warm it up. But before I go with his original carburetor, which is right here, it's a factory Holley carburetor. It's a GM matching number to this car. It's a 780 vacuum secondaries. I would love to test it and tune it with his carburetor later on. But you know what? I want to get it started with my carburetor. I got a Holley HP 850 double pumper. I said, you know what? Let me try it with this. You see if we can max out the horsepower with this thing, and then we'll switch over to his carburetor. But in the meantime, I'm just interested. And you know, of course, the most important thing for me, maybe trying to gain some horsepower, is I want to make sure that when this engine is on the dyno, that there are no noises, no oil leaks, no vacuum leaks, no vibrations, or any ticky noises whatsoever. And of course, check the oil pressure and then the air-fuel ratio. This is why the engine's on the dyno. If I have to spend a day or more for that reason, I will. Like in some cases, I have engines that come in and we have to wait for parts. And sometimes I keep an engine on the dyno for quite a few days. And if the parts don't come in, of course, we take it off and wait for the parts to come in. But in this case, I believe I got everything and I'm ready to get it tested. Now, of course, we don't have the closed chamber cylinder heads. We're gonna lose power. But I did, and of course, this flat intake manifold from GM, this is the original intake manifold that is aluminum, big port for the cylinder heads. You're not gonna make power with a flat intake manifold. And of course, we got headers as a trade-off. So we cut down the compression, we added headers instead of exhaust manifold. So it's a little trade-off. And it's gonna be a little challenge to see how it goes, and we'll take it from there. With the factory, what the engine came with was these exhaust manifolds, which I got right there. I wanted to also try the engine with the exhaust manifolds. Now, will it be easy? I don't have flanges and pipes for the big block Chevy, but we'll see later on, see if I can do it. But in the meantime, I'm interested to get it going with these two carburetors, mine and the original one, with the headers on it, and with a 10.4 compression ratio on pump gas, and see how it goes. So we're gonna make a few runs, warm it up of course, and after that, we'll start recording. Are you guys ready? Here we go. I don't know how the barometer is today. We got a 29.63 barometer because we got a lot of snow coming down today. But anyways, let's go testing and take it from there. I had it running yesterday. I didn't do any full throttle tests, but I did set it at 33 degrees at maximum timing. So we're gonna take it from there and see how it goes. I also have the oil temperature connected. And of course we got a dual fuel line. We got the air fuel ratio. So I've connected everything. Let's see how it goes. I'll shut the water pump to build up some heat because it's going to take a while. I did break in the engine with mineral oil, so now I drained it last night and I put the Mobil 1 synthetic oil. It is a hydraulic oil camshaft with the roller rockers. It's a 1.7 rocker arm ratio. I've got brand new Mutton push rods in there, 3/8 thick wall, and we also have a brand new harmonic balancer. We're dyno testing it with the zone flywheel, but this was balanced as a united connector rods. I'm also using SRP pistons with the factory connecting rods and a factory crankshaft, which is a steel crankshaft. So this will be pretty interesting. Basically, it's a nice original LS6, besides being the cylinder heads that I wish they were closed chamber to give us more compression. But this engine will run beautiful on pump gas. With a 10.4 compression ratio, I got 185 PSI cylinder pressure. So it should be good. And we're running it on headers and we'll see how it goes. going to take a while to warm it up. The water is very cold because we're not using recycled water. We are using fresh water from the building. And the ventilation in our building, the heat, or should I say the vent air that comes in through the ventilation is from inside the building, not from outside. Because, you know, it's not true numbers when you're taking cold air, or should I say 0 degrees outside, and then you bring the cold air from inside and into the engine, into the carburetor. I'm using room temperature from the building inside the shop to test my engines. I just turned on the water pump, so you know I turn it off and on to warm it up because it's going to take a while. Like so, you see, we have an electric water pump. Shut it off, shut the pump. Blue light indicating, or blue light indicates water pump is on, which means blue means cooling. Then we got the oil light also, which is in red, which when it goes under 10 psi, the light comes on, and also ignition on. And then I've got the green light for fresh air, like so, friendly green. So when I put the fan on, it takes out all the exhaust and the heat from inside the room. And of course I got a yellow light in the corner there, warning light, which is off right now, indicating make sure I do not forget the water supply to the dyno. But it's off right now because I have the water line open to feed the water to the dyno. Okay, I'm just about ready to make a test. I also wanted to say that this car also has cowl induction power brakes, and I got lots of vacuum for the cowl induction to work. But you know, you have to consider a lot of things when you build an engine. You know, pump gas, vacuum for air grabbers, cowl induction, power brakes, and of course, try to make it friendly driver. So I'm ready to make a test right now. I think we got everything in place. George, put on the fan, please. And there we go. Okay, here we go. So here we are. We're going to make our test. Full throttle, 3,000 to 6,000 RPM at 300 RPMs per second. Here we go. To put my headphones on. God. Wow. Oh, wow. Check this out.
That's excellent.
Wow. Pretty cool. Shut the fan there, John, please. Wow, this is pretty good. This is not bad at all. Take a look. Okay, we're running the 850, but let's check the air fuel ratio just to take a good look. 12.7, 12.5, 12.9. Okay, we're there. Wow, these are good numbers. I hope Greg will be happy with this.
489.
Yeah.
That's almost 500. That's excellent.
So here it is. Let's see the oil pressure. Oil pressure is at 85 pounds. But again, it's pretty cold. We're running 10W30 synthetic oil right now. Hydraulic rollers. That's it. I like it. I really do. Okay, but don't forget, I'm not going to tune this carburetor for its engine, because this is not the carburetor that's going. 6,000 RPM, no misfire, no nothing, with his coil, his distributor, with AC spark plugs. But don't forget, this is a flat intake manifold.
Yes.
You're not going to make power with a flat intake manifold. Right. You know, I don't know if General Motors was advertising 450, 460 horsepower back then. But then again, they had exhaust manifolds. But then again, they had a solid lifter camshaft and 11.25 compression ratio. Right now I got a compression ratio of 10.4, 185 cylinder pressure. So far,
more power.
Yeah, so far I like the numbers. Look at the torque numbers. Look at that. 514 foot-pounds of torque at 4,000 RPM. It went very smooth to 6,000. Oil pressure is good. Let's go check for oil leaks. What do you say, George? Let's take a look. So far so good, eh? Wow, it went good. I'm very happy. I'm very happy. I hope Greg is happy. You know what? I'll start her up. Let's see if it makes any noises. You never know. Sometimes when you blast at 6,000 RPM, you want to hear there's no ticking noises. So let me get it to idle and see how it goes.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Look at that. Yeah, cool. So now we're going to take off my 850 double pumper and put on my client's original 780 CFM single, vacuum secondary carburetor. So give me a few minutes, here we go. You know, I would say if we had the dual plane high-rise intake manifold, we would have made easy over 500 horsepower. Yep. Easy. But this, considering it's original GMPs that we want, and also another reason we do not want to replace the intake manifold is because he's got the car hood. Yeah, the car has the cowl induction hood, and we don't want to raise the carburetor with the air cleaner. So we're staying with the original intake manifold for that reason.
But we put a 1/2-inch spacer on it.
Yeah, I put a 1/2-inch spacer so I could get a vacuum reading on the carburetor.
Plus, you smooth it out.
So now, I've taken off the carburetor, our 850 double pumper that belongs to the dyno room. And of course we took off the, give me the spacer flip so I can show it to them. Let me describe this. You know, I use a very small 1/2-inch spacer to get a vacuum reading because our HP carburetors don't have a vacuum port. And of course you want to do a vacuum reading, full throttle, CFMs and whatever. And of course this adds up a little bit of horsepower when you have a very low flat intake manifold. So now we're going to remove it and we're going to put on the carburetor straight on the intake the way it came from the factory. Okay, we got the factory original 780 vacuum secondary carburetor back on that GM supplied on the LS6. I've also connected his PCV valve. We also took out the 1/2-inch spacer. We're not going to get a vacuum reading right now. I also wanted to mention that we're running his distributor with the Mallory electronic ignition inside the distributor, and of course his coil. And we also have the vacuum connected on the distributor. And you know, we're not going to play with timing because I know that the best timing on this engine, this particular engine, I did some testing to see, it's at 33 degrees. So I'm going to leave it there. And now let's hope for the best to see what his carburetor can do. Right. So this is the magic moment. This is the carburetor that's going to be without the spacer installed in the car. And let's make a test and take it again to 6,000 RPM and see how it goes. Now, Greg had this carburetor rebuilt by someone in the US. And you know what? He did a great job, let me tell you. Oh boy, I gotta do an adjustment here. PCV valve. Wow, it's pretty good. The idle is a bit too low. I like to tune it with his carburetor, the air-fuel ratio. Then if I do have a chance, when I put the exhaust manifold on, I might have to check the air fuel ratio also. But I'm concerned right now what it does with the headers. Good. Oil pressure is good. Temperature is good. Idle, air fuel. We're good to start. Okay. I think we're good. Okay, now I've got his carburetor, no spacer, ready to go.
Yeah.
Give me my headphones, Phil.
You're in your earphones there, John?
Here we go.
I gotta block my ears.
Pretty smooth there. There we go.
There you go.
Wow.
476. Yeah. I told you.
We still hit 507 foot-pounds of torque with this carburetor. Hey, his carburetor's not bad
Check
at
the
all.
fuel ratio. Check the fuel ratio.
Yeah.
Check the fuel ratio. Man.
I'm looking at the air fuel ratio. It's running rich on his carburetor. So I'm debating now. No, don't forget now, we have to tune it. Depends on the barometer too. You have to play with that. But then again, Philip, I like to make a test with exhaust manifold if I chance later on. So I'm not going to play with the air fuel ratio. I'm just looking. This carburetor is working fine. The idle is good. It's got no leaks, no fuels. There's stumbling, no stumbling. But it still makes some decent power. Look, 507 foot-pounds of torque at 4,000 RPM. And the horsepower came in at 476. That's not bad. At 5,700 RPM. With this carburetor, that's pretty cool.
50,
Wow, so
50.
the red, it did, yeah, of course the 850 did better, but then again, the factory carburetor did not too bad itself. That's pretty good.
We had a spacer too, don't forget.
Yeah, the spacer on
It
the,
straightens the air out going in the intake.
maybe we should put a spacer on that, but the problem is, it won't fit its air cleaner. So I'd rather test it the way it's gonna go in the car. That's pretty good
But
numbers.
the graph between both carburetors, they're the same.
Yeah, the same pattern.
The same pattern.
If it was up to my brother and I, you know, we would play with air fuel ratio. Of course, different days, different barometers. Today's, we have a lot of heavy snow coming down. We could lean it out. It is running a bit on the rich side. But then again, when he takes it, he's going to go with exhaust manifolds in the car. Right now, we got headers. You know, we could put a bigger carburetor, or no, we could put back the 850, put a higher spacer, maybe the half-inch again, or maybe throw 1 inch to see the differences. But the question is, we don't want to just keep killing the engine. We're using factory connector rods. And of course, we just want to tune the engine to the maximum for the way it's going to go in the car. So this is what we have. I'm very happy with the results. And I just got it to idle, run with the way the engine, with his carburetor on the way it is. And I like it. And I think my customer will be happy with it. You know, I'm very surprised with the vacuum secondaries that it pulled out practically almost the same horsepower. We still got over 500 foot-pounds of torque. We've got some decent horsepower, and without a spacer. It's the way it sits in the car. And you know, knowing this intake manifold being flat, you know, it's not gonna make power. Sure, he has the big port heads, big intake manifold, but then again, it's flat. Now, if I had a dual plane high riser intake manifold, we cannot put it on because of the cowl induction hood. If we had that intake manifold, it would have made it easy, over 500 horsepower. But then again, I said I want to tune it the way it is with the car as original as possible. Don't forget, we want the original look.
Nick wants to set the engine up the way Greg will run it in the car, and that includes with stock exhaust manifolds. So it's time for those headers to come off.
you know, it is going to be installed in the car with exhaust manifolds, but we don't have the nice, correct turn down pipes. I'm using this, you know, to the best of my can, because this pipe goes straight down, and I don't know. You know what? Let's give it a best shot, see how it goes. What do you say? It's only one shot. Let's do it. We don't have any O2 sensors on to read the air-fuel ratio. I got the manifolds on. I've never done this before. It might be a little bit insane, but you know what? Let's give it a shot. I have seen other engines on a dynamometer somewhere else that they had them run without any exhaust manifolds at all. But at least we have some manifolds on it. So what are we gonna lose? Not much. So let's give it a shot and see how it goes. Here we go. Okay, it's gonna get loud. I just want to bring up the water temperature a little bit. Wow, okay. I've never done this before. Some guys are saying go for it. Probably some guys are calling me crazy. It's my dyno. I built this engine, and I'm gonna do what I want. And of course, I gotta be very careful. We are gonna take it at 6,000 RPM and see how it goes. I'm just trying to warm it up because the water temperature is pretty cold. It's gonna get loud, and of course we got the fan on, and we're gonna have some exhaust fumes in the room anyways, so we're gonna lose a little bit of horsepower because of that, but anyways, it is what it is. Here we go. I guess some of the paint got burnt off on the manifolds. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's see what we did. How did it go? It was up to 5,700 RPM. Not bad. 457.5 horsepower. Yeah, we're almost at 460, like the factory said. And the torque numbers, 487 at a lesser RPM this time. 487 foot-pounds of torque at 3,600 RPM. That's pretty cool when he's driving. He's got more torque at a lesser RPM. I saw some smoke coming out of the exhaust manifolds, but there's a coat of paint in the manifolds, you know, but they never got heated up. Let me go take a look, make sure everything's well.
What's on the floor?
Oh, that's oil. Oh. No. Where did that come from?
Listen.
Yeah, from where? I think it's from the dipstick. Wow.
It looks like the big V8 was shooting oil out of the dipstick and making a mess of Nick's floor. Luckily, the manifolds weren't hot enough to start a fire. But what happened here?
So I just cleaned the floor because we got a mess on this side. You know, I made a test with the exhaust manifolds, and I thought it was the paint burning off, the smoke coming off the exhaust manifold. But no, on that side we had no smoke, and that manifold was painted also. So this side I realized the oil came out of the dipstick. So I was wondering, why did the oil come out of the dipstick? Well, I had a friend of mine clean the valve covers for me, and not him realizing, or myself, that an engine needs air, atmospheric pressure. It needs to breathe. So at a high RPM, there's a lot of pressure built in the crankcase. And of course, it came out of the dipstick. The reason why, which I never noticed, is the grommet that was here on the valve cover was this piece here. It's 100% blocked off. So that will not let the engine breathe at all. So when the crankcase builds pressure, where does it come out of? The dipstick. So now I put a new grommet that has an opening, which has a breather pipe that goes to the air cleaner for atmospheric pressure, like so. I realized when I installed the exhaust manifolds, I had to remove the dipstick tube, put it back in. And maybe correctly, did I have it all the way down or was it slightly open? No matter what, down or even out, no oil should come out of the dipstick tube no matter what. So this is what we're gonna do now. Now that I got the correct grommet, it's open, got the dipstick in place, let's make another test and see how it goes. You know, I have to admit, I should have seen this from the beginning. And like I said earlier, someone helped me wash the valve covers before we installed them on the engine. And I never thought of this being closed. Next time I know when there's a grommet, I'm gonna look in there, I'm gonna stick my finger in there that I make sure it's open. And I want to also let the customer know that this is a no-no, because this is the way the valve cover came with this grommet, and my guy who helped me clean the valve covers put it back on the way it was. I should have took a better look, and of course it's a learning point for you guys too, that an engine needs to breathe. I had an engine the other day come in here at brand new valve covers, no openings whatsoever, and I was telling my client, this is a big no-no. No oil cap, no breathers, no PCV valve. This engine ain't gonna work. And then a week later, I got the same problem here with myself. So let's make another test to see if there's any oil coming out of here. Yeah, even a pro like myself can make mistakes. You know, what do you want to do? Okay, let's go. Just give it a few minutes, warm it up, and we'll take it from there. I removed the oil temperature gauge because I wanted to remove the oil pan to take a look what's going on, but I changed my mind. I did not remove the oil pan. I figured the dipstick was damaged or anything like that, but then I figured out that the grommet was completely blocked on the valve cover, and that is the reason why I didn't put back the oil temperature gauge. But it doesn't matter, I don't need it right now. I'm just gonna get the water temperature up and let's make a test. I'm gonna bring the water temperature back to like before 165, and then we'll make a test. Here we go. And I thought it was the paint burning off on the exhaust manifold, but then again, why on one side? Then we realized the oil was coming out of the dipstick. So here we go now. It should be okay. Let's go. Okay, I guess I'm ready. Where's my headphones? Okay, so let's see if the oil comes out of the dipstick. Here we go. I believe this is going to be our last test. Here we go. Bingo, look at that. Perfect. Take a look. Let's go take a look. Okay, so what did it do? 459 horsepower, just about 460 at 5,700 RPM, and the torque came in at 496 at 3,500. There you have it. With the exhaust manifold, the torque came in 500 RPMs sooner. Not bad. There you have it. Pretty good. Now there's no more oil coming out of the dipstick. Made my day. Now that I got the correct grommet, would it show any difference in horsepower before and after? You know what? It will be very, very slim. So I'm not going to go through all these tests again, and I know it might just improve a little percentage, but it's all good. From what I know and where it stands, I think it's all good. Always make sure you have a breather working with the valve covers with any engine. And of course, you have breather caps. You got a hose that goes through the air cleaner. Like in this case, this Chevy engine has a cowl induction. There's a hose, a 1-inch hose from this breather, open grommet, goes right up to the base of the air cleaner. And of course, that's an open atmospheric pressure. Now, why was it blocked? I have no idea. And I wish I would have had the valve covers cleaned myself. I would have seen it. I did not clean the valve covers. I had a friend of mine clean the valve covers for me. All we did was install them, and I never paid attention to that. I never expected it. Anyways, it's all good. At least it's fixed now. Nothing came out. Look at the floor. We're all good. And I want to just say a big thank you for you guys watching us. And don't forget to check out new merchandise at the new store. A lot of new stuff out there. So check it out. And again, thanks for watching us here on Nick's Garage. And don't forget to subscribe and press that like button. Thank you. And you guys, if you look down below the video, we have a whole bunch of merchandise that you guys can buy. So whatever you like, buy it, love it, wear it, and enjoy it. And help spread the word of Nick's Garage. And if you have some time, check out our Patreon page. We have extra content and you guys can watch it and take it from there. And we'll see you next time.